Hey everybody, Dean Benard here, and today I want to talk about maintaining our impartiality. Now, of course, we all know when we conduct an investigation, we need to maintain our impartiality in terms of checking our bias at the door, ensuring that we're gathering evidence to point us in the right direction, not subscribing to some theory and trying to prove a theory, not taking sides. All of those things are critically important to conducting a fair, transparent, ethical, appropriate investigation. What I want to talk about today, though, is how are we conducting ourselves when we're not actually in the midst of an investigation? In other words, we all are on social media. We all have opinions. We all have certain political views, certain social views. All of us are entitled and free to have our opinions. But when we're in a role such as an investigator, where impartiality is very important, it's critical that we maintain some modicum of I'm not even sure the right way to put it, but maintain an appropriate level of expressing our views. When we become zealots, and I'm not suggesting there's a lot of them out there, but there are people who love to express their view, to say, this has to end. I don't agree with this, or I don't agree with that. Everybody has an opinion. And we, as people who are seen or need to be seen to be impartial, have to be careful about just how loud we get, how much we share our opinions. Obviously, all of us are subject to potentially being biased by our opinions, but what we don't want to do is create this sense of mistrust, this idea that we can't check those opinions appropriately and gather information and make decisions based on facts, based on evidence, based on standards, based on legislation, all of those things, policies. Everything we do has to be about gathering information clearly, honestly, fully from both sides of an argument, and then determining what that means. So in many cases, it's what happened. And then once we determine what happened, then we have to look at that information and say, well, how does that apply to the expectations put upon a professional, put upon a coworker? That's critically important. But if we're on social media expressing our views about certain issues, whether it be ageism, racial issues, sexuality, gender, any of those things, or political views, whether somebody has particularly right-wing or left-wing views. When we get out there and start expressing those views in a very aggressive or even just too assertive, we position ourselves to perhaps be seen as not necessarily impartial. In other words, how would you feel if you were accused of something and you then looked up me on the internet to see, well, what does this guy think about this particular issue? And I have all these social media blasts about, people who do this are wrong, and this is the way people need to think, and this is the way people need to behave. If I'm out there, pontificating about these things, and then suddenly I'm asked to look at a situation and assess it in a fair, unbiased manner, it's likely to lead people to wonder, well, will he be fair? Will he be unbiased? Is he necessarily affected? Is his mindset skewed by certain beliefs that will result in me not getting a fair shake? And that's what we need to avoid. That is what we need to make sure we're not doing. So yes, it's okay to have your opinions, but I think we have to be cautious about just how far we go in expressing them. We always need to be maintaining that impartial view of things. In fact, I would argue, here's an opinion, I would argue that in many aspects of the arguments happening in the world right now, nobody cares what the other side thinks. So we have extreme views on one side, extreme views on the other side, and nobody willing to compromise, nobody willing to talk about and maybe seriously listen to what the other side is saying. That might just be one of the issues that we have in society now that we need to deal with. Certainly as investigators, as people who are viewed to be impartial, we need to make sure that we're not part of that problem. Everybody's view is important. Everybody's perspective is important. And at the end of the day, our job is to gather facts, look at those facts, let those facts or evidence determine the outcome in terms of what happened, and then apply those in a fair way to the standards or policies or whatever it is that person is being measured against. So that's my rant. That's all I have to say about this for now. I've just seen a lot of people out there, expressing all these views. And then I ask myself, are you an advocate or are you an impartial fact finder? You basically have to choose which one you're going to be. Anyway, that's it for now, folks. We'll see you next time on Take 5.